Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tribal Trade. So great to have you with us here today, wherever you are from around the world. Welcome to the tribe, and we have an exciting daily show planned for you today. We're going to jump into a little bit of Bitcoin. We're going to talk a little bit about the altcoins. But before we jump into it, please smash the like. This helps get the content out there. Love all your comments, your questions as well. I look to get back to those as soon as I possibly can. If you haven't subscribed yet and you'd love to join our ever-growing community, please do so by clicking the subscribe and activating the bell notification as well. So let's jump into it. Yesterday we talked about Hamster Kombat. If you haven't seen how to get some free airdrop for some free tokens, please see yesterday's video. And I know some of you are already mining tokens, which will be great when they get airdropped, and we'll see what that token price ends up being and how much we all make from it. Hopefully it will be a decent amount. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about the altcoin market just for a moment before we jump into the Bitcoin charts. And I wanted to talk about a chart that is total market cap, but it's minus the top 10. And if we quickly jump into that over here, my head's going to disappear. We have an RSI that is oversold. And when this has breached 30 in the past, we have seen some good, significant upside to the upside. So I do feel that the accumulating altcoins at these levels, and again, dollar cost averaging, okay? I'm not ever saying, oh, put all of your dough in at this price and at this level is something that I would recommend doing. If you've seen my cheat sheet, I have all the price levels. I have all the entries. I feel now around 2/3 of those entries are now filled. And this is why I gave you entries so that you could get entries if you wanted to follow along with my entries. And I also now I added the take profits to it. And so I will be doing a cheat sheet update at some point, I would think in the coming few days or week. I'm just waiting for the market to settle after that drop that we had so that I can update it accurately. I don't want to be constantly having to change it as if the market keeps dropping. But it seems like we found a little bit of a pause for a moment. So let's just see what happens over the next few days. Okay, so that's what I would say. The other thing I would say is that the biggest correction of the last cycle, can you guess, ended in late June. So it happened around this time and ended in late June. And I just want to take you to the Bitcoin chart quickly. So this is the crypto total market cap excluding the top 10. So we can see here how we've come into found some support here, but we're also oversold on the RSI. So I do like that. I do happen to think that is good. I'm going to jump into Bitcoin. Where are we here? Let's go into the Bitcoin price, the DXY, quick update. Okay, we haven't really seen a breakdown from that. I know we had been keeping an eye on the DXY from the previous video. So we want to see that breakdown from the trend line there. And then obviously the Bitcoin dominance is something else that we've been keeping an eye on as well. And then we updated from the last video. So we haven't seen a breakdown from the DXY. We do want to see a breakdown from the DXY. It is holding that trend line. And we do want to see Bitcoin dominance have a breakdown from this level as well. We'd love to see it break through the 50-day moving average there. So we're not too far away from that breaking down, which would be actually quite good. And of course, we do have the so the Bitcoin dominance there. All right, let's get to the Bitcoin price. Okay, so here we have the Bitcoin price chart right here. And as you can see, this wedge that I've been showing you now for many, many weeks. But as you can see here, what we've got is look what happened. Here is the trend line. Here is the wedge that we have. And we are at the bottom of the wedge right now. So we are still respecting this wedge. We're below the 50-day moving average. We have certainly wicked down into the fair value gap. There is still some more liquidity there around 63. So I'm still looking to see if we're going to wick down like we did over here below the trend line and grab that liquidity and even possibly wick down into here before coming back into the wedge and looking to push up. I still do believe that this wedge that we are going to eventually break to the upside. I've said a 70% chance to the upside, 30% chance to the downside. Right now, we're just revisiting the bottom of the wedge. We haven't revisited the bottom of this wedge since we were there in May, and we were also there, just a little bit in May. And then we've had some good bullish upside, came back to kind of the middle of the wedge and then back up again and have come down. And I would expect that a few more touches here, one, maybe two more touches, and we can push through here. And obviously, if the wedge does break to the downside, I will update the charts at that time. But we see this wedge pattern is going to finish around the end of July. So, but it doesn't mean that it's going to stay in this wedge until then. It can certainly break to the upside before then or break to the downside before then. So those are the levels we're looking for. First of all, we need to reclaim the 50-day moving average, which is coming in around 66,300. We need to reclaim that, and we need to be holding the $64,000 level here. If we start to get multiple closes underneath where this wedge is, there is some order block here, and there is some more support underneath. However, we could obviously come. There is another trend line here that I'm not even going to bring into play at this time. It's could come in around, depending if it were to get down there. But I'm not going to jump there because the charts are not showing me that at the moment. And if we see something change in the charts, I certainly will update it. Okay. And so I want to finish off the show today looking at some of the coins against the Bitcoin pairing. I think this is really important to take a look at and see which coins have performed well against Bitcoin. Now, there is a little bubbles chart that you can go to over here, and I've already set it to the year, and I've set it against Bitcoin. So these bubbles here relate to which coins have done the best against the Bitcoin over the course of the last year. And so we see that Brett has done pretty well, as has Bonk and Whiff and Pepe. But then you see there's some of the other ones, which is in my cheat sheet, Casper in my cheat sheet, Ton in my Casper, Solana in my cheat sheet, Ondo in my cheat sheet, Pendle is in my cheat sheet, Floki is in my cheat sheet, as is Tau, as is Tia is in my cheat sheet as well. Bonk is in my cheat sheet, but there are quite a few that are really heavily down. So what I would say to that is, and this is why I put some of these coins in my cheat sheet, is I like adding to the winners. I like adding to the winners, and I like cutting the losers. Rune is another one that's not in my cheat sheet, but I do hold some Rune. But you can see some other ones there. XRP is down 58% against Bitcoin. So you can see Quant is down heavily against Bitcoin. Sui is now down heavily against Bitcoin. That's one in my cheat sheet, which I have been accumulating just recently. But you can look also HBAR and Doge and Aptos are all down heavily. So a lot of the alts are. So you can kind of play around with this. It can be quite a good feature to utilize to help to see where are the coins that have really been in strength against the Bitcoin pairing. And if we actually go over to the charts, I'll come over here to the charts and we go and say, let's have a look at some of these tokens here in trading view, like WIF here, you have over here, and you have quite strong against Bitcoin. If you go to Solana against Bitcoin, you can see that Solana against Bitcoin is quite strong. We actually have a fairly bullish pattern there into a wedge pattern that we could draw here, and we should see a bit of a breakout here. So what I would encourage you is, don't just chart your coins against the USDT pairing. Also chart it against Bitcoin and see how these coins look with Bitcoin as well. And we already know some of the legacy tokens are down pretty heavily with Bitcoin. I think if we go to ADA, Bitcoin, for example, you can see that's a pretty ugly looking chart. And if you look at DOT, Bitcoin here, again, that almost looks identical. Let's try Matic and Bitcoin. Again, another legacy token, looks pretty heavily down. Let's do a couple more. Let's do XRP, even though we kind of already saw it on the bubbles chart. Again, pretty heavily down XRP. And then let's look at Link against the Bitcoin pairing here. Chainlink, Bitcoin. And again, that's looking fairly bearish. So these coins against Bitcoin are in a bear market, where Solana was looking pretty strong. We had Render against Bitcoin that's looking pretty good. So don't be fooled into thinking that all of the altcoins are in a bear market against Bitcoin. They are not. Some of them are having a bit of a pullback and finding support and are holding up pretty well against the Bitcoin price. I think Rune against Bitcoin was looking pretty good. Let's have a look there. And again, it's up overall, but it's in a significant pullback, but you can see there's a lot of support there. So sometimes when you look at this, you say, well, that could be good accumulating for a coin that's had a decent pump and is now a little bit of a pullback here. Let's look at a couple more. Arweave against Bitcoin here. Again, same thing, has had a nice pump up. Let's look at Pendle against Bitcoin. Again, Pendle against Bitcoin, absolutely fantastic. Gangbusters. Let's look at Ton against Bitcoin. So you can see, are you noticing a bit of a theme here? That there are some coins that are doing really well in this bull market, and there are some coins that really aren't participating yet in this bull market. And that is why I created the crypto cheat sheet for you, to help you choose the right coins and be in the right coins so you can make money in this bull run. So there's Ton. That's another one that's had some really good upside against the Bitcoin pairing. Well, let's do Bonk against Bitcoin here. And you can see that that's still in some good appreciation against the Bitcoin pairing. So I just want to show that just to encourage, not all coins are the same. Not all coins are behaving the same. And I shared in earlier videos, I feel that there's Trader A and Trader B. And Trader A has been enjoying this bull run because they've been in the right coins at the right time. Trader B has been stuck in coins from the last cycle like DOT, Cardano, XRP, Matic, that have severely underperformed against the Bitcoin pairing. They've even severely underperformed against the USDT pairing. Now, I'm not saying that if you hold all these coins that you should dump all of them, but certainly for me, I did. I dumped all of my Cardano, all of my DOT, all of my XRP, and all of my Matic, and I rolled them into Render, Rune, Pendle, Ton, Ondo, Sui. And so I just want to encourage you, that being in the right tokens is so important. Casper was another one that I was able to roll. So even though I sold some of those tokens at a loss, I was able to roll them into better projects, in my opinion. And just remember that most coins from previous cycles and if history continues to repeat, and so far we have seen that, do not even make it back to the previous all-time high from the last cycle. And so just be mindful of that and be careful of that. I will be doing another cheat sheet update coming soon. And what I do want you to take away from this is I do believe we're still in accumulation. I am still accumulating the altcoins at the levels that I outlined in my crypto cheat sheet update. You can see that from a couple of days ago. If you go back in the video, check that out. And I show all the levels there that I'm buying right now and all the levels I'll be selling in the future. And also to encourage you, if you're feeling down in your altcoin portfolio, that right now we are still following the normal Bitcoin cycle. This time in the cycle in June, we are in the heaviest correction, and we're in a pretty deep correction. In fact, if the longest correction in this cycle so far is 102 days, and we're getting close to that 102 days. Of course, there could be some more room to go to the downside, okay? So be prepared. I'm not panic selling. I'm not panic buying. I have a plan. I know all the altcoins that I'm buying. I know the prices that I'm buying them. I know the prices that I'm selling them. They're all set up in my exchange, so I can just relax and go about my day and not be worried about what price is doing. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for you. I hope you enjoyed this show. And of course, check out all of my videos. I have a lot of educational content in here. I have a getting started video, which is my first video. I've had quite a few people ask about the just getting started, what exchanges, for what country. See the very first video that I posted about 3.5 weeks ago on this platform, my very first video. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm excited to see you all in the very next video. Until then, happy trading.